He returned to Fox to make his final film there, River of No Return, with Fox's newest stars, Marilyn Monroe and Robert Mitchum. When he'd finished, Otto bought out his contract, sold his house in Los Angeles, moved back to New York, thus declaring his independence from Hollywood in more ways than one. For the rest of his career, Otto challenged the system. He picked themes which had never been tackled, ideas that were unspoken, films that were daring and perhaps embarrassing. He decided to take chances. He would gamble. Sometimes he won, sometimes not, but he remained a pioneer, often the first to tackle subjects which others would follow, and at which time Otto moved on to something else, all the while leaving impressions, making scars on some and stars of others. He and his films created controversy, and the man with the golden arm was no exception.
He bought the property, that's what I think happened at the time, and I had read something about it. I don't remember where or what condition, in a book or what, but he called me one day and asked me to come to his office, and we sat around and talked, and he said, I have a picture that I would like you to play, and it's about a fellow who puts a needle in the arm, you know. I said, oh, a drug addict. Yeah, that's what it is, yeah. And when I realized that when I read the script, I thought, this is a great piece of work, and it's going to be tough to do. So I got permission to go to watch a kid, a youngster, who was in a dry-out position in a padded cell. And I never want to do that again, and I advise anybody never to go look at that. I left in tears streaming down my face. A little guy, must have weighed about 90 pounds. They were drying him out, and he was trying to knock the walls down. You know, they were all padded walls, and it was just terrible. It was a peephole, and it was against the law, I suppose, but somebody swung with it, the idea. And that's how I got some of my moves as to during the withdrawal program, because the kid I was looking at was going through a withdrawal program, and how he felt and what he did. And as a matter of fact, when I walked away from it, the poor kid was out of his head. He was about, as I say, about maybe 17 years old, something like that. And I walked away. I was in tears. I couldn't control myself.
Let me out!
For the part of Molly, Frankie Machine's girlfriend, Otto chose a young actress named Kim Novak. This role turned out to be her breakthrough.
Standing any longer.
Look, just a little
Please
longer.
help me. Keep me warm. I can't stand any longer. I gotta get out and get a fix. Open the door, Molly. Do like I say. Open the door. I'll kill you. I'll kill you.
Frankie, listen. If you really
I
can't...
can't. I can't.
Well, then I do have something put away to make it stop.
Give me quick. Give me. Quick. Where? I'll get it. I'll get it. Molly! Molly! Molly, open the door. Let me out. Out, out. Out, out, out. Molly, open the door. Please, Molly. Molly. Molly.
Frankie? Frankie, answer me. Frankie, answer me. Are you all right? Don't think you can fool me into opening this door, because I'm not going to. Are you all right, Frankie? Please answer me.
Molly. Molly, if you love me, kill me, please. Oh, I'm so cold. I'm so cold.
He also cast Eleanor Parker as Frankie's nagging wife, Darren McGavin as an evil pusher, and Arnold Stang as Frankie's pal. The story is an unsparing look at Frankie Machine's attempts to go straight and make a new life for himself as a musician. The Production Code Office had no choice but to deny the film its seal of approval. United Artists, which backed the film, resigned in protest from the Motion Picture Association. This time, however, the Catholic Church refused to condemn the film. So even without a cold seal, over 1,000 theaters agreed to show the film. It received excellent reviews, was a box office winner, and earned 2 Oscar nominations, one for Frank Sinatra and one for the film's composer, Elmer Bernstein. So, Otto had defied the censors once again and triumphed once again. In fact, the production code was officially amended to allow drug addiction to be treated as a legitimate screen subject. On top of that, Otto hired a graphic artist, relatively new to Hollywood, to create the titles and the publicity campaign. The artist's name was Saul Bass. It was the beginning of a long association between Saul and Otto.
The thing that was singular about what happened with Man with the Golden Arm and a number of other things we did was the notion of making a commitment to one central idea, the notion that it was possible in a totally reductive way to say, this is what the film is about, and develop an evocative visual configuration and image that would express that notion and express it in a sufficiently seductive and perhaps metaphorical or a provocative way that would cause a large enough number of people to say, hey, I'm interested in this film and I want to see it. So when I came up with the thing for The Man with the Golden Arm, you know, the idea of committing the whole thing to that funny arm, that crooked arm, and say, hey, that's the story of the dope of the addict, and that this would be the basis for, you know, for a response and create a level of interest for the film. That was a pretty odd notion. By the time the film opened in New York, the utilization of the basic symbol for the campaign had been so widely disseminated and had apparently had such an effect that when it opened in New York, the marquee on the theater carried only the arm and no words. It didn't carry the words, and that was the way the film opened in New York. So it had achieved, you know, quite an extraordinary currency. And also the whole notion of what happened in the title area was very interesting, because that all came about, you know, in another curious way. At one point, you know, having created that symbol for the campaign, we were sitting around one day and talking about what to do, et cetera, and we looked at each other and said, gee, why not put that at the head of the film and make it, you know, make that part of the film and use it as part of the title. So the idea of animating it and making it move and doing all of those things was, you know, had considerable power. And what happened, as you know, as a result of that, is that, you know, we wound up, in a sense, reinventing the title. Of course, for me, personally, it was an extraordinary thing, because it really was my first experience in actual working with film, and it was the beginning of my work as a filmmaker as well as a graphic designer. And of course I went on to do every title for Otto on every film that he made, as well as, you know, others in the industry.